Hello, everybody. It looks like we are live. This is my first time to personally go live, and I'm just going to give a couple of seconds here for people to potentially join. I have amazing people with us today. Of course, on the screen, you see Brandy, and we'll get deep into introductions with Brandy here real soon. On the other side of me that you can't see is my sidekick, Alex, who works technology magic. So thank you, Alex. You've done amazing things today to make this possible. And then on Brandy's other side is Kelly, who also is that same right-hand person doing all the technology stuff, helping us bring this to you today. So I can see that we've had some people join. Hopefully, this is a fun way to spend your lunch break. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to our special Facebook Live event, Reset and Recharge, Unlock Your Wellness Potential. I'm Dr. Kristy Kirk with Healthy Lifestyle Medicine in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And today we've partnered with Brandy Woods from Gravity Bar, our very own colonic and infrared studio right here in Cheyenne. We are so lucky to have you right here in Cheyenne. We're going to bring an exciting conversation about how our two practices work together to help you achieve total wellness. But before we dive into conversation, I'd love for Brandy to introduce herself and share how you got started in this field. Brandy, could you tell us a little bit about your background and what led you to specialize in colonics?
Well, I don't know if I always grew up thinking I want to be a colon hydrotherapist when I grow up. Um, However, I in 2017 I was licensed. Well, I'm duly licensed as both a massage therapist and a colon hydrotherapist, and so I kind of got into it, going down the holistic alternative wellness path with massage. And I went to school in Florida. And in the state of Florida, you have to be a licensed massage therapist first in order to go on to get a second licensure. Um, and so while we were in school, we were doing a report on different massage modalities. And when I found out that colon hydrotherapy was one of the modalities, I think it was a joke at first to me because everybody, fart, butt, poop. And I thought, well, this is my report is going to be at least very entertaining and interesting. And then it sort of took over my life. I became obsessed with it. It was like so interesting and just rabbit holes. I I can't tell you, it's changed my life and a lot of people around me as well.
That is awesome, Brandy. And me personally, just knowing you very well because you take care of me, you do colonics for me. There could not be a better personality, a more fun, but not making it weird. I mean, it's like, think about how, as you were thinking, gosh, this is not where who would have imagined colonics in the body part you deal with. And, Brandy, kind of, I feel like that was my path when I was on the journey to become a conventional OBGYN. Looking back when I was younger, never would I have said, "Ooh, I want to be an OBGYN." Probably it would have been the opposite to be like, "Ooh, who wants to do that and deal with that part of the body?" But I feel like it's the universe guides us in the direction that we're meant to go and our passion and where we can really serve. And I just have to compliment you because there's nobody I would rather have a colonic with than you, Brandy.
Thank you. It's my gift.
Ah, it is. Well, so Brandy, can you explain the role of colonics in supporting gut health and overall wellness?
Well, colonics really help to support overall wellness by removing stuck debris that's in your body. I mean, ultimately, it's kind of a slow auto intoxication. When waste sits there, it's sort of like waste sitting anywhere. It starts to stink and rot and all those things. And then if it's not moving through in a timely fashion, then some of it is kind of getting reabsorbed through the bloodstream and tainting your body. Ultimately, colonics, they help to remove that waste, right? To take a toxic load off of every other detoxifying organ in the body, as well as it really creates an environment that's going to help support the gut biome. And in order to have a good gut biome, you really have to have a good environment, which is going to include what you're putting into your body, but also total body wellness is not just what you put in your body, but your body's ability to get it out.
I love everything you just said. And that is why I feel like our businesses and our approach to health and wellness just fits so beautifully together. And really, the purpose of this webinar is to help either patients who know me at my clinic or clients who know you at your clinic to say, oh my goodness, these two things go together so beautifully. And even though at Healthy Lifestyle Medicine, we have a wide range of ways that we support holistic, proactive, preventative health, including hormones, anti inflammatory nutrition, vitamin injections, weight optimization. The list goes on and on and on. One of the things that I love the most personally is thinking about detoxifying the body. And so we're going to hear all about a deeper dive into colonics from your perspective. And then from my perspective today, from Healthy Lifestyle Medicine's perspective, I really want to focus on a supplement detox protocol. And you and I have definitely talked about this a lot. And you know that I have done the Cell Core Foundational Detox. That is a 4-month long herbal, very natural, very safe, very effective, relatively easy to do protocol. And I had done it before I knew you and before I experienced regular colonics. And it just has totally taken it to the next level as I have added in the colonics, because with the supplements, I can support the body's detoxification pathways because we live in this toxic world. Unfortunately, it's getting more and more toxic, and our poor bodies are working so hard to keep up with detoxification that even things like our hormones that we focus on a lot can start to accumulate in our body and cause problems. But aside from even hormones, we think about heavy metals, we think about smoldering infections, bacteria, viruses, parasites. Let's you and I definitely dive into some discussion about parasites because we send lots of fun pictures to each
That's true.
right? And I'm just thinking, the exogenous chemical hormone disruptors, everything that our body is holding on to. I kind of think of the body, it's a bathtub, and we need to be draining that bathtub. Otherwise, we're going to get to this critical limit when we feel fine, fine, fine. And then all of a sudden we crash and burn, and our body just can't keep up anymore. So, um, as we dive deeper into this conversation, it really is like what you do with what we do. Of course, I'm biased, but I feel like it is such an incredible result to detoxifying the body. So, with that, Brandy, can you explain? Because I suspect that a lot of patients, it would be a big step and maybe a little bit intimidating to be thinking of coming in for a colonic. So, will you please walk us through the whole process of what a patient should expect when they come to see you?
Well, I will say that I feel like colonic studios are the day spa of the future. So I think a lot of people are often very frightened about the description. So I'm going to try to zhuzh it a little, but also, there's no other way to say it. The fact is that I introduce water, warm body temperature water, into your colon, right, via the rectum. That's the part that people go, about. However, it's actually it's more here than it is here, right? And they're actually quite comfortable. I mean, what people can expect is that, it's going to it's very gentle. It's gravity fed, which is why we're called gravity bar. We practice the gravitational method of colonics. And so it's just a very gentle, warm stream of water that just kind of it feels like it's filling your tummy. And then any waste material that wants to move through is going to just move through. So I use a pediatric size scope on everyone. And it's quite comfortable. Again, once you get past the initial moment, it's more here than it is here, you know? But also I think that people can expect that, your body is going to unveil its current function or dysfunction. Like as we're seeing things, I think that most people don't take the time to look in the toilet after they've gone or pay attention to their bowel movements. I think they just think it's waste, like it's, not to be minded. But I am sort of like, it's like reading tea leaves. There's so much information in there that people aren't getting if they're not looking. And so you can expect to, as I'm watching through the YouTube, the waste material that's leaving the body, we can see things like, dehydration, inflammation, um, just lots of different cues, including your motility, the strength of the colon, right? So, in some ways, with the gravitational method, we are able to rehabilitate the colon muscle to function more better by proper bowel training. So, really, what can you expect? You can expect a warm bath for your colon, and then you can expect to leave light as a feather afterwards, feeling 10 years younger and 10 pounds lighter.
I love
Mm.
that, Brandy, and I will vouch
There's
for
a,
it.
you know,
And I'd also love to add that you do just make it such a comfortable experience. The warm towel blanket that you get to cover with is amazing. I feel like some very enlightened conversations can happen while a person is having a colonic, and maybe that is also part of you being such an excellent practitioner. And I remember the first time I came in, it took a little longer, and probably my body was a little more tense to, really start to allow natural, healthy things to be happening. But when I first started, I did one, I think, every week or so, or maybe even more, for a total series of 12. And by the time I got to just a few in, like I walked in, I'm ready to jump on the table, easy peasy. 45 minutes later, I'm done going to the bathroom. And, yeah, so I love how you talked about spa of the future, because I feel like anytime we can make something good for us, fun, enjoyable, and also we're taking care of ourselves, because I think we're to this new era where we're realizing we have to take care of ourselves before we take care of anybody else. So really, that is the experience that one experiences with you. I also want to touch on how you said retraining the bowel, and that is something that we talk about a lot at my clinic. Constipation is so common, and you probably see it like I see it. We take care of a lot of the we do a lot of women's health, because I come from the OBGYN traditional conventional world. And so I have a lot of patients that I delivered their babies, I've done their hysterectomies. But before I made this transition into healthy lifestyle medicine, January of 2019, it's been almost, we're going on 6 years, which is amazing. I don't think I ever talked about the importance of having a daily bowel movement as much as I do now. And I don't think I understood how that ties into hormone health, and
Mm.
how that ties into overall health, how important the gut health is. So nowadays, like, the first thing I'll talk about with a patient when I see them first is the importance of gut health, and how it is the center of the universe. quite literally. And it is our second brain, our neurotransmitters, our mood, our emotions start in the gut, our immune system, our hormone balance, weight optimization. I just really cannot stress how important a healthy gut is. And nowadays, I feel like most of the world is starting to hear the word microbiome and starting to understand this just a little bit more. But tell me, what kind of conversations are you having about gut health when you have a client on the table?
Oh, well, they really kind of vary as far as, like what kinds of conversations am I having about gut health? Well, it's kind of, what are they doing to support their gut health? One. Two, what kinds of things are they experiencing that might be tied to their gut health that they don't associate? Like how well are you sleeping? What are your levels like during the day? Do you have sensitive skin, uh rashes sometimes just mildly breaking out? Do you have sort of histamine responses and allergies or postnasal drips or things that aches and pains when you wake up that you maybe think, oh, it's just allergy season, or oh, and that's not to discredit allergy season, but um sometimes we just think that, oh, we're just getting older and that's just normal to be feel this tired in the middle of the day, or to my vision to just not be quite right when I first wake up, or to take time for my joints to lubricate themselves. And a lot of times these things are very often tied to your gut health. So, when you start taking care of things like your gut health and cleaning that out, you might notice things like your skin improving, or you might notice things like your eyesight improving, or you might notice that your arthritis, inflammation, as much as we'd like to think that what happens in the gut stays in the gut, no, that's not always the truth. And most of the time, low grade inflammation, right? And because it's low grade, it's very common in the gut. And unless it's severe enough that we're, completely inconvenienced by it, we're not doing anything about it or thinking that those two go hand in hand. So I guess the conversations that I'm having about gut health are like, how is your overall health? Because that's probably going to be very indicative of where your gut health is at.
Mm, I love that, Brandy, and I could not agree more. Really quickly here, we're 17 minutes in, so I am just going to look over to some of our friends that have joined, and I'm gonna just do a couple hello shout outs because Brandy, you can't read the comments, and so I want to share that and just do a quick shout out to some people that I know and love dearly, and I'm sure you know and love dearly. So hello, Terry. Hello, Jill. Hello, Teresa, Sandy, Desiree, Christopher, Harley. Thank you all for your kind messages. And I think both Brandy and I would say a very sincere, heartfelt thank you to all of you who do support this new, different way of looking at health from a holistic, proactive, preventative angle. And I feel like this angle is just going to become more and more popular, more and more clearly important today when we have a world that is more unhealthy than it's ever been before. And I do want to do a quick shout out also to Brandy and Kelly and Gravity Bar. Congratulations on just being named best of the best when it comes to Cheyenne Alternative Health Clinics. So, congratulations. It could not go to a more deserving, more caring business that just has brought like helped Cheyenne take a huge step forward in this direction of supporting health of our community.
Thank you so much. That is so kind. And, I think it's been really wonderful to have come to Cheyenne and have been met with so much support from other businesses and trailblazers such as yourself, who have been talking about this and kind of, trailblazing is not very easy. And so we didn't know when we came here, is anybody going to care about gut health? Is anybody going to be interested in taking the dive, right? And committing to maybe some methods that might seem, well, pretty alternative. But thank you so much. That is very kind of you. We are very honored and incredibly grateful to be here.
Absolutely. So, hopefully, everybody who's watching this and anybody who sees the replay, hopefully, you get a lot. You made a lot of new faces, and you probably would make a joke on that. But hopefully, you meet a lot of new people that really, if I could encourage anybody who comes to our clinic to give something a try, coming to try a colonic would be one of the first things that I would absolutely recommend, my own personal experience also, to really add into the holistic approach. So Brandy, let me get back to asking you some questions then. How about misconceptions? What are some common misconceptions and how do you address those for your clients?
Okay, so common misconceptions. I think the one I get the most is that, or you hear the most, is that if you get a colonic, it's going to wash all your good microbiome right out of there, and then you won't have any. And the truth of the matter is that that's not where it lives. It doesn't live in the waste material that's being flushed out. In fact, it's not going to thrive in a in that kind of, you know, wasteful environment. So,
Mhm.
in order to support, diversity of your microbiome and for it to flourish, the good biome, because otherwise, what happens is that the things that you're flushing out is going to be excess candida, right? Those are going to be the things that are going to be living in the waste material that's going to be flushed. It's almost like the same as if you were to ask somebody, when people, our digestive tract runs from our mouth all the way out the back, right? And when you drink water, you are not flushing all the microbiome, because that's just it. Colonics are just water. Good news, bad news, it's just water. So sometimes, you need to do a little soaking and saturating and maybe do one or two or a couple or 12. It depends on what your goals are, right? But ultimately, it's just water. So it's not a chemical and it's not pressure washing and it's not going to go in there and disrupt the things that are naturally living in your body, that are naturally interacting with water, which is most common in your body every day.
Mm,
So
absolutely.
I have one other misconception too.
Great.
It's not necessarily a misconception. I think it's an expectation, or an anticipation. I think a lot of times people will watch a lot of TikTok videos and they'll watch, these massive releases. And I think that, the people that are having those, sometimes when you come in, you get your first colonic, or so, some people can have major releases in the first colonic, but it's really going to be indicative of like where your body's at and when your body's ready to release. And I think sometimes people, their expectation is that that's going to happen. And I think a lot of times when you see those kinds of releases, people have really worked towards softening and saturating all that old waste material and mucoid plaque in order to be able to have those releases. So, just managing expectations, like come in and let your body do what it's going to do and see what it's going to do. It'll tell you
Mm,
immediately.
mm. So I want to touch on some of those points that you made. First, that it takes some consistent work, and like you said, big releases probably are not going to happen that first time. Because I even look at my own health journey. I have dived really deep into the integrative, functional, holistic approach since January of 2019 when I opened, and it is consistency, and it's doing all of these little steps consistently, and they're subtle changes that happen, but over time, over
Yeah.
these almost 6 years, this adds up. And if I had not prepped my body with doing, say, a cell core foundational detox, then I probably would not be seeing the releases that I see with the colonics, because it really does take prepping the body so that your body can do its thing. But then also, I wanted to touch on the point of your body knows what to do, exactly like you said. We get one body. If we take care of it, it will take care of us. And we know our body best. We know our body better than any practitioners. So
Yeah.
to really empower patients, people to take responsibility for their own health and to start to listen to their bodies. And you and I have talked about this. When we think about symptoms, it's kind of like the body maybe whispering at us, whisper,
Yeah.
whisper. And if we don't listen, which is so common in the modern world, we're so distracted by everything else that is happening in life that we aren't listening to our body giving us these little signals to slow down and take care of ourselves. And then all of a sudden the body starts to yell at us, scream at us, and that does not sound good or feel good.
Feel good. Yeah.
And then we have to catch up. But if we all can really appreciate, honor, and respect the fact that if given half a chance, the body knows what to do. I think that is what makes the approach that you and I really believe in just so powerful and so different than the modern conventional world. And I would like to also, like, this is a great point for time for me to say I very much, honor the conventional world, and they are important because we have this sick world. So we need people who are in the sick care system to take care of all of these sick people that need deeper support
Right.
than the holistic, and I should say deeper conventional support. But I think it's really important that we're starting to see more holistic practitioners educating and empowering our patients to take responsibility for their own health. And hopefully, after today, that will include for our listeners a colonic every now and then to really support the gut health.
I mean, you only live once, and life is all about experiences. I feel like everyone, the fountain of youth, right? It's like somewhere between a good sense of humor and colonics. I really believe that, and Cellcore foundational protocol. I did this foundational protocol, and it was just amazing because immediately I felt such a difference in my energy, and I could really tell like it's. I will say, if you're going to do anything, that's where you need to start, and I think it's so important to start there because what happens is people want to do maximum impact, maximum results, and they look at all these cleanses and they look at all these things, and they're like, start with what they think is like the most the biggest gains. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is that if you are not in the right place for it, it's going to, your body's going to be shocked and it's not going to be able to do what you're asking it to do. In
Mhm.
fact, it's really just going to disrupt everything. So
Mm,
starting with foundations, right? Emptying the garbage can and putting in the stuff that's going to help you to remove all the waste. And then if you're removing the waste with the colonics, then you're able to assimilate your vitamins and minerals better. You're going to get the most out of all those supplements, right? Like otherwise, if you're not doing these things, you're just throwing a bunch of stuff into a volcano and hoping that it takes, and I think you were right about the consistency. I mean, a lot of times people will look at these bodybuilders or fitness, whatever, and they're like, I'm going to the gym. But if you're not consistent, then those gains, right? It's like that's just it, is that over time, it's incredible what the body is capable of, when we show up for it and when we start what we need to. Because if you go to the gym and you lift way too heavy, you ain't gonna do anything for the next couple days. You can't do
right.
that.
Love that. I'm sure that probably all of us on this webinar right now have experienced that where
Can't sit down.
that's right, learn our lessons. And that is what it's all about, continuing to learn those lessons. Brandy, you talked about the Cellcore foundational detox. So I would love to dive just a little bit deeper with that because I have exciting news. It just so happens that Cellcore as a company, they are offering Black Friday specials next week. So everybody who's watching this, hopefully by the time we're done here, will have convinced you to add in a Cellcore foundational detox and to add in a colonic series, and that these are going to go beautifully together. But I want to give just a little bit of background on Cellcore. So Cellcore is one of my favorite nutraceutical lines. I get exposed to all of the best of the best when I go to all of the, cutting edge conferences, and I try them all. I love to be the guinea pig, and I can guarantee over like my 45 years of life, I have very much been into this world and I have tried it all. And Cellcore came to me from one of my patients who is really good with her supplement knowledge. And she brought in these pictures of parasites that she had passed into the toilet. So talk about getting my attention to be like, whoa, this sounds legit. And then I started going to their conferences and learning, and they just have the highest quality supplements with great research and clinical results behind them. And it's designed in a way to make it easy for the average person. And this foundational detox is 4 months long. It comes with a box for each month, a card that tells you how to take the supplements, morning and evening doses, and we can definitely help support that. It's designed to be all as complete as possible. So I definitely tell patients, because most of our patients are going to have foundational supplement regimens that they're already taking. But this is, even though I love supplements so much, this is a time where I'll say, put those foundational supplements on the shelf and just focus on the cell core detox, because there's also a fine line of supplement fatigue. It can happen to the best of us. And so to really say, okay, let's really focus, let's commit to the detox, I would recommend, as this savings comes out next week, anybody who's interested, like buy all 4 boxes, all
Oh
4
yeah.
months at once. So you're committed, right? So
Yeah.
we'll back out.
Yeah, that's how I did it. And it was great. And I drank so much more water when I was taking supplements regimented. I was like, oh, this is great. Cause you get into a flow and now it's just like part of my life. I drink 30 ounces of water before 9 a.m. It's like, wow.
Amazing. I love that, Brandy. And so great point that like we can add so many other little health improvements
Right.
while we're focusing on the foundations. And so the beautiful thing about the Cellcore Foundational Detox, the Cellcore supplements, they are carbon technology, which means it's carbons, hydrogens, and oxygens coming from fulvic and humic acids, which is all the rage nowadays. And the reason it works so well is because our bodies are made up of carbons, hydrogens, and oxygens. So when the cell core detox is getting delivered to our body, because it's delivered with what we're made of, it's delivering the herbal ingredients deeper and better. So not only does it get into our mouth, it gets absorbed through our GI tract, into our bloodstream, into our tissues, into our organs, across the blood-brain barrier. So it's really able to dive deep and address heavy metals, environmental toxins, parasites, bacteria, smoldering viruses, exogenous chemical hormone disruptors, all the things that our modern body is probably holding on to. And it's designed in a way that is peeling back the layers, like peeling back the layers of an onion. And just like you said before, like you have to do the prep work, you have to open your drainage pathways before you start to detox, because if you aren't pooping and having a GI tract that can keep toxins in the intestines and flush them out, like you're just going to be stirring up toxins and reabsorbing toxins.
It's a relocation program. It's just relocating them, but it's still
Yes,
it's not. Yeah. So agreed. That Cellcore is really, really amazing for doing that, for opening those drainage pathways, for supporting the gut, for supporting the mitochondria of the cells and repairing the mast cells. It's like getting your body ready to. It's like nobody ever won the Olympics without training first, right? Or like you can't run without learning how to walk first. So
I love it. It's all about the right steps and support from people who can, really help support. Say if this person is having side effects, or if they're feeling something that, and the thing that I say about Cellcore is the good news is it works. And the bad news is it works. And the bad news being it works is because sometimes people do feel worse before they feel better as they go through the detox process. Do you see that as your clients are going through a colonic series that sometimes they do feel worse before they feel better?
Well, so that's interesting that you bring that up, and I'm so glad you did, because I think too, like, so one of the things that a client may experience, right, is that this old waste material is sort of like a dirty diaper that's been closed. And until you open it up, right, and then all that stuff is exposed, like, it's almost like it was kinda quarantined. Your body's really good at creating mucus and stuff to quarantine you from the bad stuff, but it's still in your body and it's still poisoning you just because it's not rapidly running around all the time. So when you start to soak and saturate and lift some of this stuff, we sometimes clients can experience, detoxing symptoms while they're on the table, which usually are very mild. They can feel, get flush or sweat while the waste is passing, right? Because your colon, one of the jobs that it does is it reabsorbs all the water that it borrowed during digestion directly into your bloodstream, which is why it's important for your colon to be clean because your bloodstream is your life stream. And everything that's in there is now the filtration system for the water that's going into your bloodstream. So as waste is leaving the body, especially older waste material, right? A very small amount of it can be reabsorbed through the bloodstream and immediately experienced by the client in the form of detoxing symptoms. Sometimes it's just goosebumps, but it's a really good marker for us to know what is the quality of the contents in there. What are you holding on to? How old is that stuff? How toxic is that debris? And it could be anything. It could be from the air that you're breathing, from the kinds of water you're drinking, from medications that we've been taking, and also, well, and I don't want to get into like the emotional stuff, but there's a lot of facets of things that influence, the way the gut holds and what it's holding on to and how long it's holding on to it. And you would be surprised. Um, I think a lot of people, they don't know what they're capable of holding on to.
So, when you bring up emotions, let's go there, Brandy, because I think that it is so important. That is a very important direction from how I support patients, body, mind, soul, emotions, like the emotional blockages that we are holding onto. And so maybe we can also bring in the discussion of parasites with
Ooh.
emotions, just knowing that parasites are low vibrational critters. And so this is where I will again say I am a conventionally trained OBGYN and I practiced in the conventional world for 10 years. And it was a privilege to deliver babies and to do surgeries. But the way that I am helping patients now feels like it is on the deeper level because we're coming from the approach of body, mind, soul. And we're just not looking at the physical body. We're also saying emotions. So, back to parasites and how I had a patient that showed me pictures of parasites. I know that Brandy and I and some of our shared client patients, we circulate a lot of parasite pictures. So I would like to plant the seed that after you've gone through a colonic series and a cell core foundational detox,
Yeah.
that Brandy and I are ready to support you to dive deeper into a parasite detox, which I think can just be transformational for a person thinking, what kind of emotions, parasites being low vibrational creatures that hold on to a lot of toxins in our body, release a lot of toxins and ammonia in our body, and can just be that emotional block that really is preventing us from being our physical best health self. What do you think about that, Brandy?
I mean, it's incredible because sometimes what happens too, this is another thing that can happen during colonics. What can you expect? Well, you can expect the unexpected because no colonic is ever the same, right? Even with the same person. And I mean, sometimes when the body's ready to release something, you can have an emotional release as well. And sometimes somebody could be talking to me about, like, I don't know, the color of their car. Nothing emotional. And they're like choked up, like just all of a sudden they're just overwhelmed with an emotion. Now, some people know exactly what it's from and some people don't. And they don't realize that, well, we're really great at compartmentalizing things up here, things that we've been through or think that we have handled, you know, there's just two different minds about it, right? And oftentimes we didn't realize that we were holding on to something because we don't give it any more thought. But physically, it's what has been keeping holding. And I think when it comes to parasites, they're attracted to serotonin, right? And our gut is what manufactures serotonin and dopamine and all those feel good things. So when people start really cleaning their gut, one, they always tell me, they're like, I think these are making me nicer. um, but also, when you relieve and let go of parasites, and parasites can also be one of the leading causes for constipation. But I'm gonna circle around back to the foundational really quick, just because I think it's really important. People want to do a parasite cleanse, and if you have not supported your body first, you will just make yourself sicker, and you will not get the results you want. You'll just feel terrible. So do the work first, and then you can see all the wonderful things.
I love it, Brandy. I appreciate that. And I would say you and I both, like, we have our fair share of our own parasite pictures. And
Yeah.
again, this is where I wouldn't have believed it if it wouldn't have come out of my own body. But we and many of our patients and clients have pictures to be able to look at very healthy people who are taking very good care of themselves, who there's parasites everywhere. We all have them. And I feel like it can just make such a huge difference when it comes to health. And Brandy, really quick, I'm going to go over to our chat here and just say hello to a couple new people have joined, Victoria. And then I have to say, hi, Mom. I'm so glad that you hopped on. And just to share with everybody that today we hope that you are really able to see how Brandy and Gravity Bar and myself and my team at Healthy Lifestyle Medicine, how our businesses complement each other so well. And hopefully, you're going to be convinced that through the holiday season, which can be a time when it's a little harder to stay on top of your health game, this would be a perfect time to add in a series of colonics with Brandy and a foundational cell core detox that Healthy Lifestyle Medicine can hook you up with. Or if you want to get through the holiday season and then go all in, January also, of
That's
course,
right.
great time.
Well, and what an incredible gift to give somebody too that's been struggling. I think, when it comes to seeing the success in clients, it's a lot of them, they are to a point where they're like, I've tried everything. I do this, I do that, I've done this, and they're at a point where they're like, I don't know what else to do. And it's usually, well, where do you start? Where did you start? Where are you starting from? And I think that for, especially if you're feeling generous and you'd like to gift somebody, like what's going to help them get all the pieces together, right? Um, I'm at your clinic all the time. Every week, a couple services. I absolutely just everything from cell core to the M-Cella chair, pelvic floor is so important. Everybody get a squatty potty. If you don't have one, go get the M-Cella chair. Go do the M-Cella. You don't know how important those are. But it's just, you guys have such wonderful services, and I think that for the holiday season especially, if why not treat yourself? But
Mm.
if you're feeling generous and would prefer to, when I give to myself, give to others. But and you will, when you do something like this for yourself, you are giving to everyone around you by being the best version of yourself, by having the energy, by, having the patience, and, just by having all the, when you glow and you radiate and everything is just like, when you feel good, you make the other people around you feel good too. And that in and of itself is huge.
That is beautiful. Everything you just said, Brandy, I couldn't agree more. And to turn it around, definitely, I know my team and myself included, we spend a lot of time at your place. Tell us, we have not yet talked about your infrared sauna. Why don't you share a little bit about that also? Because that would be a beautiful gift for either yourself or loved ones around you.
So we have an infrared sauna. It's a far infrared sauna, and it's a dry sauna. So that means that Far infrared is basically like the radiation that comes from the sun. There's healthy sun radiation for us, which is near, mid, and far. Far is the deepest penetrating, and we respond very well to it because our bodies actually emit it. That's why you can see us at nighttime with infrared goggles on. So what it does is it actually has the ability to penetrate your cells deeply, and it raises your core temperature by about 3 degrees. So it's far infrared is mostly for detoxing purposes to sweat. So it helps to support your lymphatic system. Now people are like, lymphatic system, what is that? And I'm like, well, it's the other part of your immune system. So it's your gut and your lymphatic system. And your lymphatic system is the only system in your body that doesn't have a pump. So it moves when you move. And in this burnout culture, a lot of us are just so busy. And I know, I mean, I sit down a lot because if I was walking around doing colonics, it would be very bizarre. But by the time I get home, I'm like, man, I feel like exhausted, but I've been sitting all day. So if I'm not moving in other ways, then everything is just stagnant, and that lymphatic fluid just keeps recycling. And then what happens is our body, whenever it senses something that might be less than ideal for us, it will try to quarantine it. Here we go again, with either mucus or with, in this case, what it does is it creates fat and puts fat around this toxic material so that it won't be invasive. And these are now abnormal fat cells, and these are the ones that are really, really hard to lose, especially around the midsection, because that's where you have so many, a prolific number of lymph nodes. So this is the part I had to memorize because I wasn't okay. So what it does is it penetrates the cells and vibrates the water molecule within the cell to break the ionic bonds in order for your body to move and metabolize it. So basically, when you sweat, right, your skin is the largest organ of your body, but it's the largest excretory organ of your body. And oftentimes, if you have skin issues, we like to call these autoimmune issues like psoriasis, eczema, we don't know what causes them. I'm like, it's a toxic overload. Your body is trying to take the path of least resistance to eliminate, and it's having a reaction to whatever, So when we're able to like move that lymphatic system, by sweating out toxins, it takes a huge load off of our kidneys, off of our liver, off of really everything. So when you support your lymphatic function, right, you're supporting your immune system as well as every other body system. So the sauna, it's really just lovely. We also do what's called halotherapy, otherwise known as dry salt therapy, for people who have seen the man-made salt caves that you sit in. And it basically breaks up pharmaceutical grade salt particles that are very, very fine. So they're not irritating. You almost wouldn't notice that they were there unless you turned a light on, and it looks like dust. But it helps to get in through and clear, which I'm really there right now. Wish I was in there right now. To clear all your sinuses and your nasal cavities. And there's a lot of drainage pathways here. And then also get into your lungs. Your lungs are an excretory organ. And I think oftentimes we kind of dismiss it. But let's face it, if you get sick, it's by one of three ways. You ate it, you touched it, right? Your skin, you touched it, or you breathed it in. So those three body parts are the things that we're really, for allergies, for, getting over COVID or sickness or sinus infections. There's so many really great uses. But then also if you have dry skin conditions like psoriasis and eczema, that salt, it's anti-inflammatory, it's antimicrobial, it's a naturally occurring. Again, at Gravity Bar, we use natural sun rays. We use, manufactured. We use water and salt. We just use natural earth elements to help your body do what it does, right? Because if anything else that you do have to do, oftentimes people do need extra support with traditional medications, and those cause side effects. And so this is a way to help alleviate some of those things without causing more side effects. I'm sorry, I think I just went on a run off.
No, that was awesome. I love how you explain things. You explain things in a way that is just, it makes so much sense. And your sauna is amazing. It's so relaxing. I have a less fancy sauna here at my house, but next time we do a live, let's both join from our saunas.
I asked Kelly if I was like, should I just get in the sauna? And she was like,
Next time, Kelly. But you're right. It is so important to sweat. And there we just get back to detox. We have to keep detoxing in this modern world. So, Brandy, as we get down to about the last 10 minutes here, I want to just remind patients if you would like more information from either of us, if you drop your email, I'll say hello to Jody. I see you just popped up in here too. So again, people that Brandy and I know and love, we appreciate everybody's support. If you would like more information and to be able to connect with Gravity Bar or Healthy Lifestyle Medicine and get information on the cell core savings coming out next week, just drop your email and we'll be sure it will come with a recording here. So hi, Casey. Love you too. So we'll send out this recording so then you can be that ripple effect and share it with other people that you love and other people who you think could relate and could benefit from this. So we'll be sure to get a very complete email with all the good information to you. But Brandy, how about, do you have a patient success story that you really love that you would be able to share with us?
Well, I think the ones that are the most excited are the ones that just can't poop and they're like Miralax dependent. And oftentimes they go to, the GI doctor and they're told just take Miralax, take it twice a day if you have to. And, I had this one gal, that young gal, she just was so afraid. She's like, I have dreams that like my bowels are going to explode and I'm going to die from being full of poop. And so I think that when people get things moving and they don't realize that like how much of their lives and also, some of my clients, they're so excited. The success is that they feel like they've gotten their dignity back because they couldn't, they go to the bathroom so often or have these spastic colons, right? And they're like, I don't know if I can play the piano at church without, having to take something or having an episode. And so, I mean, I guess the success stories, they really just kind of vary because there's so many different reasons why people come in. And, it's exciting. I I don't know if I could just pinpoint just one. I just know that most of the time when I go to work, I am always reminded why I love what I do
Mm,
and why I do what I do. And
mm.
goodness, I got to tell you, that's the truth. I was gonna say nothing, but I was trying to find a butt pun there, but I really didn't. I just dang.
I think you just did.
It was there, I was talking, and then it was gone.
Leave it to Brandy
I
to
left it behind.
some butt puns. I love it. Well, I would echo Brandy that just I agree. We see people transforming in so many ways, getting their lives back,
Yeah.
healthy GI tract, pooping every day, people, so important. Weight optimization, in mental health, stress resiliency, hormone balance, being a better person, which everyone around, not only yourself is going to appreciate, everyone around appreciates that. So I really hope that we'll see a lot of you coming in and trying these approaches. If you haven't tried them yet, we are here to support you all the way. So, in closing, Brandy, what is one piece of advice or insight you wish everyone knew about colonics and their health journey?
Ooh, we touched on so many things that I feel like were little gems here and there. Um, but I honestly, I really think that there's the biggest thing is that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? Because the colon is like that houseplant that forgives you a lot. That lets you know I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty. And then you water it and it's like, okay, I'm back. And, there are some that just die. And so I really feel like when it rebounds quite quickly. And oftentimes people come to me because of a catalyst, and it's usually like a health turn, and they're like, oh my God, now is when I need to do something. And now I feel like, and if there's still oftentimes it's still very gracious, but sometimes we get to a point where we can only mitigate things. So it's just so important to like things I wish people would know is that like colonics and butt stuff, it's well, that's not what I meant to say. And I'm live, so I can't. Dang, I made it all the way to the end, almost. But it's really not that it's really not that scary. I feel like taking your colon health into your hands, into your own hands, and like being open-minded about all the possibilities and positive effects that it can have. I don't know. I guess what I want people to know is that colonics are
Amazing.
yeah, they're quite comfortable. I know people. I have people that are very scared to get on my table. It's the most nerve-wracking table to get on the first time. Right?
Maybe more so than a gynecology exam, right?
I mean,
Probably.
but I've got people now that I can't get them off my table. They will sooner cancel a facial than they will a colonic. They're like, well, I'm not canceling my colonic. During CFD, they're like, well, are you going to be here? Because if you're going to be here, I'm going to be here. And I was like, well, I guess I'll be here. So that stuff is good stuff. And I highly encourage, like, I guess what I want people to know is that, don't wait until the last minute. And if you're really, weird about that kind of stuff, you don't want your first experience to be the colonoscopy, because if you don't get a good colonoscopy, you're going to be there lots. And that kind of environment's not really the same as mine. So if you want a glowing review and you don't want to have to do a whole lot of any of that stuff, and also here's one more, and I don't like to scaremonger, but colon cancer is the second leading cause of death, second to heart disease. And arterial hardening, which can be linked to heart disease, right, or is a contributing factor, can be linked back to gut health too. So take care of your gut. You need to poop.
Absolutely.
Poop regular, poop all the time.
Amazing, Brandy. So clearly, if anybody on does not know Brandy, there is not a more fun, positive, bright, shining light than Brandy to be doing this kind of work. So in closing here, I would just like to thank you all for spending your lunch hour with us, and please give us any and all feedback. We hope you found value here, and we hope that you have gotten to experience the benefits that can come with working with our two approaches together. Let's get you the best results. Let's keep you in your best health. Let's be proactive. Let's also reverse chronic disease while we're at it. And let's do it together. I feel like just really finding aligned, high vibe, positive people that can support you on the journey, people who walk the talk themselves and are there for you and genuinely care about you getting amazing results. That is what we're here for. So Brandy, thank you so much for your time. This has been so much fun, and goodbye, everybody. We'll sign out. Have a wonderful rest of the day and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.